Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning, good morning. So happy to see you all in this fine morning. I hope that you all are keeping fine and doing well. So there are 6 students who have joined. So that shall we start our session? Shall we start?
Okay, sir.
Right. So I am sharing my slides. I am sharing my screen. Is it visible? Is it
Visible,
visible?
sir.
Visible,
Yes.
no? Right. I have uploaded the lecture material to LMS, so you can download it. So better if you can have a copy of. Dear students, we are approaching the end of your semester too. It is too fast. So there are a couple of sessions we have to complete. So in the morning session, are you aware that we are going to meet in the evening too? Are you aware that we are going to meet in the evening? We have another lecture in the evening.
Yes, sir. 6 to 9.
Right. Okay, good. So in the morning session, I am going to discuss about human resource planning. Human resource planning is the third function in the order. This is a very basic function, but very important function. So there are a couple of learning outcomes of this particular session. First of all, you should understand the meaning of human resource planning. Before we understand the meaning of human resource planning, you have to have good understanding about the meaning of planning in general. So planning is very important that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. සැලසුම් කිරීමට අසමත් වීම යනු අසමත් වීමට සැලසුම් කිරීමයි. So, student, did we discuss this session? Did we discuss this session? I think we did not. Okay, so if we have discussed, so please let me know. Right, so we are going to define the term. Yes, so this is job analysis. I want to discuss not job analysis, human resource planning. Let me to check it. So sorry. Students, so what is the lesson that I have uploaded? What is planning? No? Okay, no worries. Right, we'll discuss. Right, again, so I'll uploaded the corrected session. Right, today we are going to talk about human resource planning. In short, it is HRP, human resource planning. There are a couple of learning outcomes. First of all, you should understand the meaning of human resource planning. So what is human resource planning? What does it mean to you? So then we are going to talk about the importance of human planning. Human resource planning is so important. How do you say that planning is so important? So you have to have facts. So there are 5 reasons for human resource planning. If you can understand those 5 reasons, you can understand the importance of planning. Human resource planning is a process. There are several steps to be followed. You may not have hands-on experience on human resource planning, but I'm sure that if you can follow the process that I'm going to share with you today, you can do a good job. I'm sure. Then explain the cause of future HR demand and HR supply. In human resource planning, what we are going to do? In short, we are going to forecast future demand for HR and we are going to estimate HR supply. So we forecast future demand for HR. That means we are going to get some understanding about the number and the type of the job vacancies that may occur in time to come, job openings. How many job vacancies? What type of job vacancies? So how many person we need in time to come? So 2 weeks, next month, next 3 months, next year, next 2 years, etc. So what type of people we need? How many people we need? How many vacancies? So it is all about future demand for HR. On the other hand, if there is a vacancy, we have to fill it. There are two sources we can fill. We can fill internally or we can fill externally. Internally means we can think of promoting current employees who are working in the organization, or we can think of transferring them to fill the jobs which are vacant. So we can use internal. If not, we can think of hiring outside, hiring the labor market, right? So in order to estimate, so in human plan, we have to estimate how many employees can be transferred, how many employees can be promoted to fill job vacancies. That is so estimation of HR supply. So there are several reasons for human resource demand. There are several reasons for job opening. We are going to discuss those reasons. Identify strategies to be taken for surplus condition and shortage condition. What is that? So we forecast future demand and then we estimate HR supply and we are going to compare what is the demand, what is the supply. Sometimes demand will exceed supply, sometimes supply will exceed demand. If demand is equal to supply, it is okay. So no need of hiring anybody. Right? So, but if the demand exceeds supply, so there will be a shortage of employees. Right? So that we have to think about how we are going to get them. Sometimes supply will exceed demand. So if supply exceeds demand, there will be a surplus of employees. Both surplus or shortage conditions cost to the organization. So there's some strategy. We will discuss some of the strategies. Finally, we are going to discuss some of the principles of human resource planning. There are several so-called functions of principles. So principles are the guidelines. So if you can follow those guidelines, so I'm sure that you can do a good job. So these are the learning outcomes of today's session. We are going to achieve these learning outcomes out of this session. So I want to complete this session. So in this morning. Right. So, are you clear about the learning outcomes? Shall we start? Shall we start the discussion?
Okay, sir.
Right. The first thing you have to understand the meaning of human resource planning. But before we discuss about the meaning of human resource planning, you have to have better understanding about the meaning of planning in general. Right. So, what is planning in general? So planning is the first function of management. According to Henry Fayol, there are four functions. The first function is planning. Planning is so important that if you fail to plan, you are planned to fail. You have to have a plan. If you do not have a plan, sure that we may fail. So when it comes to organization life, organization should have organizational plan. When it comes to our personal life, we have to have personal plan. Our career life, we have to have a career plan. So planning is so important. Planning is so important, and you have to have that plan in black and white. But unfortunately, only 3% of the world population is having a written plan. Only 3%. 97% of people, 97% of people are helping those 3% of people to achieve their plan. That is the majority of people are doing. Right. Anyway, what is planning? Sorry. What is planning? Want you heard? Is it the first time you heard this term? Planning? Okay, no worries. Sands are running out. So planning is all about setting goals. Planning is setting goals. It is all about setting goals. Not only setting goals, but deciding strategies to achieve those goals. So in short, planning is setting goals and deciding strategies that should be followed in order to achieve goal. So we, on the one hand, we have to set goals, establish goals, select goals, choose goals. So goals are desired targets to be achieved. Goals are the outcomes. Goals are the favorable targets. So we have to have favorable targets, desired targets to be achieved. So not only deciding targets. So we have to have strategies or tactics, measures that should be followed in order to achieve those goals. That is planning in general. But here we are concerned about human resource planning. What is human resource planning? Human resource planning. So very simple, very simple. So human resource planning is a process. It is a process of determining. It is a process of determining future employee needs. What do you mean future employee needs? The number and the type of the employees you need in time to come. For example, for next week, how many people are required to perform various functions? For next week, so what type of employees are needed? For next month, how many people and what type of? For next 3 months, how many people and what type of people are needed? For next, how many people, what type of people? For 2 years, how many people, what type of people are needed? How many production supervisors are needed? How many management trainees are needed? How many security personnel are needed? How many drivers are needed? So it is all about knowing the number and type of employee. Forecast in advance and the type of the employees we need. So to say it in different ways, we are going to forecast number and the type of the vacancies that may occur. How many vacancies? What type of vacancies? Right? So it is better to know the way than go astray. Almost all the employers wants to know the number and the type of the employee they need in time to come. So they can take decisions proactively. Otherwise, they have to take decisions reactively. The reactive decision making incurs a huge cost, right? So that we can take actions if we can understand the number and the type of the employees in time to come is. And not only knowing the number and the type of the employees, so we have to have some strategies. How many employees are going to be hired internally? How many employees are going to be promoted to fill the jobs vacancies? How many employees can be transferred? How many employees should be hired from outside? On what basis? So how many on the basis of part-time employees? How many casual employees? How many free-time employees? How many permanent full-time employees? Right. So there are various strategies. So it is about knowing so the number and the type of the employees we need and the strategies we follow in order to achieve those needs. Understand? Is that clear? So planning is the process. Planning is the process. Human resource planning is the process of determining future employee needs. Future employee needs. Steps or strategies to achieve those needs for the purpose of accomplishing organization goals and objectives. So everything is done in order to achieve business goals, organization goals. So this is planning. So what is the very purpose or prime purpose of planning? Understand prime purpose of human resource planning is to prepare the organization or prepare the management to get right people at the right time for the right job. So that if human resource planning is taking place, there should have right people doing right job at any given time. If there are no right people doing right job at any particular time, it means that there is no short due to human resource planning, there should not have shortage of employees or surplus of employees. If there is a shortage of employees or surplus of employees, means that there is no proper planning. Understood? Understood? Is that clear?
Clear, sir.
Right. Okay. Right. So the very purpose of human resource planning is to get right people at the right time for the right job. Very purpose is prepare the management or prepare the organization to get right people at the right time for the right job. So that due to human resource planning, if your organization engage in human planning, they should have right people doing right job at any given time. If there are no right people doing right job at any particular period of time, it means that there's no proper planning. Okay. I hope that it is clear to everybody. Then let's discuss the significance of human resource planning. Human resource planning is so significant, so important, but we can't exactly say. So we can't say for the sake of saying. So we have to have facts. Why human resource planning is so important? There are 5 reasons for human resource planning. There are 5 objectives. So all those objectives highlight the importance of planning. Right. So we'll discuss these objectives. So first one is determine future employee needs. So you will be able to decide to determine the number and the type of the employees you need in time to come, in the future, to engage in your planning. Tell me any employer who does not want to know the number and the type of the employees they need in time to come. Will there be any employer who does not want to know the number and the type of the employee they need in the future? I'm sure that almost all wants to know because they can take decisions so proactively. Otherwise, they have to take decisions reactively. හැම සේවා යෝජකයෙක්ම කැමති අනාගත සේවාදායක අවශ්‍යතා කල් වේලා යතු දැනගන්න. ලබන සතියේ කොතරම් පිරිසක් ඕනද? ලබන මාසෙට සේවකයෝ කොතරම් ප්‍රමාණයක් ඕනද? ලබන මාස 3ට කොතරම්ද? ලබන මාස 6ට, ලබන අවුරුද්දේට කොතරම් නේද? එහෙම දැනගන්න පුළුවන් නම් so ඒක ආයතන වාසී කල් තියා සූදානම් වෙන්න පුළුවන් එක ගන්න. Right? So that so if you want to know the number and the type of the employees you need in time to come, so you have to engage in human resource planning. So that by doing human planning, you'll be able to get that piece of information. That is one of that one. That is one of the objective. The second one is to utilize human resource more efficiently and effectively. Utilize human resource more efficiently and effectively. Efficient and effective utilization resources, human resources called as human resource management. That is human resource management. If you want to manage human resource, there are so-called functions of HRN. So that you have to perform those functions. So starting from the beginning, job designing, job analysis, human planning, then recruitment, selection, hiring, induction, etc. There are many, many functions. So if you want to perform so some of those functions professionally, properly, efficiently, effectively, successfully, so you have to have a plan. If you do not have a plan, you can't do it. For example, next function we have to talk is recruitment. Recruitment is all about finding and attracting suitably qualified applicants for the jobs which are vacant. You have to find and attract. Right? In order to decide or determine the best source, best method of attraction or recruitment, you have to have a plan. If you do not know the number and the type of the employees you need, how can you select a particular method of attraction? There are many ways. For example, there are so you can attract people by using the most common, most widely used method, newspaper advertisement, word of mouth, employee referrals, right? So job agencies, universities, educational institutions. So there are many. In order to decide to determine the method you are going to use, you need to know the type and the number of employees you need. For example, one of the organization needs to hire one laborer, right? So that they should attract applicants for the postal labor, only one position. So if there is only one position, and if the organization wants to first attract applicants, will the organization go for newspaper advertisement? Will the organization go for newspaper advertisement? What is your idea? Is it good? Position is laborer, only one. Will the organization go for newspaper advertisement? No, definitely not, because it is very costly. What will be the cost of full-time, full-page newspaper advertisement? So more than 300,000 today in widely circulated so newspaper. Right. So instead of going for a newspaper advertisement, the organization will ask their current employees to bring one known to them, employee referrals. So very easy. It doesn't cost anything, even a red cent will be good. Right. So that is the recruitment method you use. But if the vacant position is so let's say, so managerial position or professional. For example, you need to hire a fully qualified accountant. The position of accountant is vacant. You want to attract fully qualified chartered accountants. So, what is your strategy? What is your strategy? So, what is the recruitment method? Only one position. But are you going to ask your current employees to bring another one? Will it be possible? You need to have nationwide publicity so that it is very important to go for newspaper advertisement because it gives nationwide publicity. Then you can attract sufficient number of good applicants. So understand if there is a vacancy for the post of laborer, you are not going for a newspaper advertisement. But if the position is your position is so accountant, then you are going for a newspaper advertisement. So that in order to decide, decide the method of uh, recruitment, so you have to have a plan. If you do not have a plan, you can't do it. Right? To control employee cost, right? So understand if you are doing staffing function as need arises, it may be very costly. For example, if you go for newspaper advertisement as need arise, it may be very costly. Right? For example, if a particular vacancy occurs today, you are going for newspaper advertisement, you can get sufficient number of applicants, but it is very costly. Full page, full page four-color newspaper advertisement cost near 300,000. Right? Today, 300,000. Then after 2 weeks' time, another vacancy, again another advertisement, again another 300,000. After 1 month's time, again another vacancy, then another job advertisement, 300,000. After 2 months' time, again another vacancy, another job advertisement, another 300. After 3 months' time, again another vacancy. So within 3 months, so you have published three job advertisements. So cost may be 1.5 million approximately. But if you engage in human resource planning, you can plan ahead. You can get some understanding about future job vacancies. You will be able to forecast all the job vacancies that may occur within next 3 months or 6 months, right? Even for the year. So if you forecast your future job vacancy for next 3 months, so why can't you put just only one job advertisement calling for the application for all the job vacancies within next 3 months? Only one advertisement. You can call for application for all the job vacancies. So only one advertisement. How much you can save? You can save 1.2 million approximately, right? So that you can control employee cost to a great extent to engage in human resource planning. To develop high talent employees. Understand there is a big demand for high talent employees in any economy, any society. But normally the lead time to hire them is quite longer. Cost is high. The other hand, it will not be that easy for you to hire high talent employees, skilled employees. You can hire unskilled labor at any time, but not talented employees. Right. So that having understood that level of difficulty, if you engage in humorous planning, you will be able to develop them within the organization because you have enough time. For example, today you engage in humorous planning and understand that you need 10 assistant managers in 2 years' time, not today, right? You have 2 more years. But you understand at the time you want to hire them, it will not be that easy. Right? Lead time is high, cost also very high, right? You find it difficult. So that today you can start developing that type of employee within the organization. Why don't you hire 10 management trainees and train them to become assistant managers in 2 years' time? You may have the required staff after 2 years' time. Okay, so to develop high talent employees, you can so human planning is very, very useful. Finally, to formulate and implement strategic plans. Strategic plans are long-term plans, critical plans, which help the organization to achieve its business goals. Right? So, for example, penetrate into a new market is a strategic plan. Producing a new product, complete new product is a strategic plan. closing down one of the factories belongs to you is a strategic plan. And if you prepare a strategic plan, you can prepare a strategic plan, but if you want to implement it, you have to have human resource plan. Without a human resource plan, you will not be able to implement your strategic plan. Human plan is a part and parcel of strategic plan. For example, you are going to your one of your factories running at a loss. Try to close it down. If you do not have a human resource plan, can you close it down? What will happen to the employees who are working there? Can you fire them? Understand, firing is not that easy. You can hire anybody within a fraction of a second, but you can't fire anybody at your discretion when you need it. There are labor laws, right? So it is not that easy. So you have to pay compensation. So it cost is high, right? So so what are you going to with that employees, excess employees? If you cannot, so fire them. So you have to have. Right. So these are the reason for human resource planning. Right now, you can understand how important planning is. Right. So if you can go through these objectives, you can understand how important planning is. Right. Is that clear, students? Is that clear? Okay. Understood?
Yes,
I need
sir.
a feedback.
So,
Huh?
Clear, sir.
Right. So we discuss the significance or the importance of human resource planning. So this is our second learning outcome. Okay. In terms of your examination, even this may be important. Sometimes I may ask a question with regard to the significance of human resource planning. Okay. Then we are going to discuss the most important part of our discussion. Right. Before that, I want to let you know that so there are many organizations who do not involved in planning. Sometimes your organization also may not be involved in human resource planning. There are several reasons why many organizations do not engage in human resource planning. Right? Why? So there are many reasons for them. So one is ignorance. They don't understand the importance of planning. Although you understand, so they do not understand importance or the significance of planning, so that they do not engage. On the other hand, some of the organizations do not have the expertise. So there should have some expert in human resource planning. Right. So if they do not have expertise, so they may not do it. And some organizations may not have enough resources, financial resources to do it. So they cannot afford human planning. Planning incurs a cost, so that they may not. Some other organizations may have wrong attitude that planning is not necessary in a country like Sri Lanka because we have huge unemployment rate. That is a wrong attitude. Although we have high rate of unemployment, so it is not that easy to hire skilled labor. We can hire unskilled labor, but we can't hire unskilled labor. It takes time. Lead time is high. That's why the planning is important. And another reason is that the habit of doing staffing function as need arises. When you organize some the habit of performing staffing function as need arise. For example, if particular vacancy occurs today, then the organization wants to hire one today. If another one after 2 weeks' time, then on that day. After 3 months' time, then at that time. So they don't have plan. So these are the reasons. Lack of understanding about the purpose of HRP, non-availability of expert in HRM within the organization, attitude that HRP is unnecessary for organization in a country like Sri Lanka because it has high unemployment rate. Then habit of doing staffing function according to human resource needs, lack of financial resource. So these are the reasons, but these reasons are not valid. Right? Although they have, we can't undermine the importance of human resource planning. Very, very important function. If you fail to plan, your plan fail. Right. Then we will discuss the most important aspect of our today's session. Process of human resource planning. Process of human resource planning. Understand human resource planning is a process. There are several steps to be followed. I am going to share with you today 5-step model of human resource planning. There are 5 steps to be followed if we want to make a human resource plan. So these 5 steps are very useful and very simple to understand too. We will discuss these steps one by one. The first one is to forecast future demand for HR. Forecast future demand for HR. What is forecasting future demand for HR? It is all about getting some understanding about the number and the type of the employees the organization needs in the future. For example, how many employees are needed for next week? How many employees are needed for next 2 weeks? How many employees and what type of employees are needed for next month? How many employees and what type of employees are needed for next 3 months, next 6 months, next year, next 2 years, 5 years, etc. It is about getting the understanding of number and the type of the employees the organization needs in order to do various activities of the organization, right? Forecast future demand for HR to say in different ways. So how many vacancies and what type of vacancies will occur next week, next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, next 1 month, next 3 months, next 6 months, next year, next 2 years, 5 years, etc. So getting some understanding about number and the type of job vacancies. How are you going to do it? So forecast and demand, right? So forecast demand of human is involves estimating the type and number of employees needed in the future, right? So in order to understand the number and the type of the employees we need or vacancies, better to understand the reason for job vacancies. What are the reasons for job vacancy? Due to what reason job vacancies occur? Think about your organization, the place where you are working. Vacancies may occur in your organization. What are the reasons for occurring job vacancies? Due to what reasons? There are many. Can you tell me some reasons for job vacancies? Why job vacancies occurs? Due to what reason? Yes. What are the reasons for job openings? Can you tell me at least one? Think about your organization. What are the reasons for job openings? Due to what reason? No reason? Job vacancies occurs without reasons?
Retirement?
Retirement, yes, retirement. People will get their retirement. Once they reach their mandatory retirement age, they retire. So if employees current ever retire, then vacancies create. It will increase the demand. The retirement resignation, current employees will resign. So that job vacancies create. It increase the demand. Then how about leaves of absence? So employees will take leaves. Maternity leave, foreign employment leave, study leave. So when current employees get their leave, so vacancies occur. Then death of employees, while working employees may die. We are not going to forecast the death of people, but if people die, then there will be vacancy. And how about so what is called as punishment? So organization will sack employees. Right? So if so, vacancies will create. Right? Then how about some strategic plans? So one of the particular organization has a strategic plan of expanding its business, right? Expansion. Then it will increase the demand. How about changes of production method? Some of the organization may decide to change the method of production. So organization going from labor intensive to capital intensive, or capital intensive to labor intensive. Labor intensive means using more labor. Capital intensive means using more capital. So in the process production. If a particular organization going from labor intensive to capital intensive, what will happen? Yes. So definitely. So demand for HR so goes down, reduce. We don't need that much of employees as we are having now. Then sometime there will be some external factors such as economic factor. One of the economic factor is inflation. What is inflation? Economic concept. Inflation is continuous increase of general price level. If general price level of products get increased, what impact will it make on our human resource requirement? What is the immediate impact of increase in inflation? Immediate impact? You have learned economics. Immediate impact of increasing inflation. Understand, immediate impact is on purchasing power of consumers. Consumer purchasing power goes down. They will not be able to buy the same number of unit of products they were buying earlier. So their real income goes down, purchasing power goes down. If their purchasing power goes down, they will reduce the number of units they consume. If they reduce the number of units they consume, the organizations will not be able to sell the same number of units they are selling, including our organization. So that our organization also will not be able to sell the same number. If you cannot sell the same number, we can't, it is not advisable to produce the same number. So that we have to reduce the number of units we produce. So if you want to reduce the number, we don't need so that much of human resources we need. We can reduce so that it may lower. Right, so that there are several reasons: demand for the product, goals and study plans of the organization, production method, retirements, resignations, death, leaves of absence, terminations, external factor. These are the factors that affect future demand. Understood? Is that clear? Right. We are going to forecast future demand for HR. In order to forecast future demand, what we do is we are going to translate the impact of these factors into actual human resource requirement. Due to the demand for the product, due to the increase of the demand for the product, so how many new employees we need, right? Due to the increase of the demand, how many vacancies will create? Goals and study plan. So if you have a study plan, so you have to translate into actual human resource requirement. In order to the plan, how many new employees you need? Production method. If you change the production method, what is the impact on human resource requirement? If you're going from labor intensive to capital intensive, you can reduce the number of employees. It doesn't mean that you are going to fire them. So you have to have strategies. So retirement increased demand, resignation increased demand, death increased demand, leaves of absence increased demand, termination increased demand, external factors. It depends on the factor. Right? These are the factors that affect future demand. So if you want to estimate future job vacancies, if you are going to estimate number the type of the employees you need, so you are supposed to translate these factors into actual human resource requirement. In order to do it, so there are several methods you can use. There are several forecasting techniques. We are going to discuss some of the forecasting techniques. Right? Students, are you with me? Connected? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. If there is anything you want to understand, please let me know. Stop me and raise your hand. Right, forecasting techniques. So there are several forecasting techniques that you can use practically to forecast future demand. So one is informal forecast. Informal forecast. Avidimat Bavi karne in Sinhala. Informal. So name itself gives some understanding about the method, technique. Informal. So this is highly informal. A future demand for human is determined without a systematic based, right? So without science based, systematic based, it is done quickly and randomly, ad hoc manner, right? So without any proper scientific based, systematic based forecasting is made, especially forecasting made based on the experience of the one who is going to forecast. Right? Based on his experience, based on his understanding, intuition, forecasting is made. Especially this is used by small organizations. Right? So, for example, in a particular small organization, owner manager understand that, pursue that the overtime cost is escalating, overtime cost is increasing rapidly, so that he think to lower the overtime cost by hiring a full-time permanent employee. So he is thinking of hiring full-time permanent employee in order to lower the overtime cost, right? So that he decide future requirement is one employee, one employee. So that is how it happens. So we can't recommend this method to medium-sized and large organization because there is no any rationale behind the estimation. There is no any systematic base. So we are not. But however, something is better than nothing, so that a small organization can use this informal forecast based on the one who is going to forecast, one is doing human planning. So decide the number and the type of the employees they need, right? Then second one is formal expert survey. This is a very good method, practical method. Formal expert survey. Vidimat Visheshapnya Samikshana. Vidimat Vishe. So what is formal expert survey? The better way is to survey among managers, head of the departments, right? By survey among senior managers, head of the departments, so you can get some understanding about the future employee needs. For example, you want to forecast future demand for the entire organization. There are several divisions. You are going to visit these divisions and meet head of the department. You first go to operations and ask operation manager, so what is your future requirements, employee requirement? How many employees are going to retire next year? So let me know. How many employees are going to retire next year? How many employees are going to take leaves of absence? How many employees are going to be terminated? Right? So are you going to change the method of production next year? So you can get these, you can ask these questions and get the information. Information are the so data you need. You can meet, so sales manager, marketing manager, and ask questions in order to get information. Sales manager, how many employees are going to retire next year in your division? How many employees are going to get leaves next year in your division? How many employees are going to resign? How many employees are going to be terminated? Right. So, what is the forecasting of demand next year? What is your sales forecasting? Will it increase or decrease? If it is increasing, so how many additional employees you need? So you can meet these employees, head of department. So you meet finance manager and get the same. So by meeting those head of department, senior managers, executives, you can get the information you need. So this is highly accurate because experts are experts, so they possess sufficient amount of information with them, right? So you can use this. Although it is not 100% accurate, so this is very good method. There is another method called Delphi technique. Delphi technique is a special kind of expert survey, special kind. This is more sophisticated than formal expert survey. In this technique, so planner form a team of expert. Team of expert. Expert means so they are expert in forecasting future demand, right? So even if planner form a team or group, especially in order to get some understanding of forecasting, right? So you have to have sufficient numbers. So 7 to 10 members may be good. If it is more than 10, it may not be good because too many cooks spoil the soup. If it is too little, so you'll not be able to achieve the objectives. For example, suppose that we want to forecast future demand of a particular organization. So we select 5 experts. Let's say that expert A, B, C, D, E. These are the experts, right? So we are going to perform few rounds in order to calculate future demand. In the first round, we ask these experts to forecast future demand according to their understanding, according to their experience, right? They will give their idea. So you are asking them to do it individually, not collective. They are not supposed to talk to each other. So they have to do it individually. So A has forecast demand as 30, B 60, C says that 45, D 43, E 48. Those are the forecasting. So you collect this information and check whether there is an agreement. If there is any agreement, so you take it as the forecasting. If there's no agreement, what you do is you analyze this information and come up with descriptive statistics such as mean, mode, median, percentage, quartile, average, variance, standard deviation, etc. Having analyzed, you send back those information again to this expert and ask them to revise it, right? Make revisions, right? Then in the second step, they revise the estimate and send it. He thinks that 30 is not enough, so he wants to increase it up to 40. We think that 60 is too much, we don't need that much, so 50. She thinks that 45 is good, so that he does not want to change it. D thinks 43 is good, but he wants to increase to 44. He thinks that 48 is good, but he wants to change it to 46. Right, now second round. So check whether there is an agreement. So minimum number is 40, maximum number is 50. So that still there is no any agreement. So what you do is you again analyze data, come up with descriptive statistic. Highest number, lowest number, medium, mode, so average, percentage, quartiles, so variations, stand deviation, etc. So you feedback these informations to this expert. Ask them to again forecast. So in the third round, A has forecast of 44, B thinks that 46, C thinks 45, D thinks 45, E thinks 45. Now look at these figures. Is there any agreement or not? Is there any agreement among these experts or not? Now, huh? Is there any agreement among these experts or not? Understand now to a greater extent there is an agreement. So out of 5, 3 experts says that so number of employees they need is 45. Right, so we can take it as a number. Right, A thinks that 44, B is 46, all others 45. So that we can get 45 as the final number, final estimate. So this is how it happens. This is a very good method. Right, you can use this practically. Then, so there are several steps, 5 steps. So we discuss these steps, go through the lecture note. 5 steps to do Delphi technique. You can use Delphi technique for some other purposes too. Right. Right, unit forecasting. This is also a very practical method. Many of us are using unit forecasting. It is one of the broad approach to human resource forecasting. It uses bottom-up approach, not top-down at a bottom approach. So you have seen that in many big organizations, large organizations, there are several departments. Under those departments, there are several units, right? So department is headed by the department head. Unit is headed by the head of the unit, right? If the organization wants to forecast the future demand for the organization, HR plan start from the bottom. That means start from the units. So he first meet the unit heads and ask them to forecast future demand for their units. Right. So based on many, based on many factors, head of departments of units may forecast their forecasting with their respective units. Once they forecast, they are supposed to send their forecast into the department. So the department, one particular department will receive forecasting from many units under that particular department. For example, operation departments will receive forecasting from many units under operations. There are many units, product A, product B, product C, product D, likewise. Right? So then, so department heads, so analyze those forecasting of units and combine those forecasting and want to make one forecasting for the entire department. So each and every head of departments will forecast their future demand for their entire department. So having forecast, they will send those forecast into the head of the institution. Right? So the head of the institution. So receive forecasting from their respective departments. So So the head of the institution will analyze it and combine those forecasting. We want to make one forecasting for the entire organization. That is how it happens. For example, in my university, vice chancellor is the head of the university. Under vice chancellor, there are 11 faculties. Faculty is headed by a dean of faculties. There are 11 deans. So my faculty is Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. Under each faculty, there are several departments. In my faculty, there are 11 departments: Department Accounting, Department Finance, Department of Business Economy, Department of Human Management, Department of Marketing, Department of Operations, Department of Entrepreneurship, Department of BCom, Department of State Management Evaluation, Department of Entrepreneurship, Department of Decent Science, etc. 12. I'm working for Department of Human Resource Management. Right. So each department is headed by head of the department. So my department is headed by head of department HR, accounting department, head of it. So human resource planner is the registrar of the university. The registrar wants to forecast the demand for entire university. He first approach head of the department of the university. So ask the head of the department forecast future demand for the respective department. For example, head of accounting department is required to forecast future demand for accounting department. Finance head required to forecast HR for finance department. Right. So likewise, each and every head forecast future demand for their respective departments. Having forecast, they are supposed to send it to the dean of the faculty. So dean of the faculty of so management receives 12 forecasting from their respective heads. So having received, he wants to combine these forecasting, want to make one estimate for the entire faculty. So he will include some of the job vacancies and delete some. So likewise, all the other deans of the university will receive those forecasting from their respective departments, and they want to make a one estimate for their entire faculty. Having forecast, so human requirement for the entire faculty, they are supposed to send their forecast to the vice chancellor. So vice chancellor is the head of the institution. Vice chancellor receive different forecasting from different faculties. So that vice chancellor combine the forecasting and analyze and want to make one estimate for the entire organization. So that vice chancellor also can add some of the forecasting or delete some of the forecasting and make one. So this is very good method, unit forecasting. It is practical, so accuracy is very high, right? Then we have another method called extrapolation. Extrapolation. Extrapolation, in single we call it prakshepane. It is all about extending past rate of changes to the future. We go through past rate of changes and analyze the trend, and we extend that trend into the future. Right? This is very accurate method. Any organization can use it. For example, particular organization had 300 employees in the year 15, 16, 315. In the year 17, 330, 18. So, right. Let me do. Give me a second. Right. I wanted to add some more. Right. 15, 13, 16, 3, 15. 17, 330, 18, 346, 19, 361, 2020, 376, 21, 391, 2020, 406, 23, 421, 24, 436, 2025, that means last year, 451. So let's say that in the year 2026, this year, we had 466. 466. Then in the year 227, we are supposed to forecast future demand for 2027. 2027. So, what is the number of employees? What is the number of employees we need for 2027? Use extrapolation. Extrapolation is all about forecasting future demand for future by extending rate of changes to the future. You analyze the trend and extend it to the future. For example, from 2015 to 16, the number has increased by 15. From 16 to 17, the number has increased from 315 to 30. That means 15. Change is 15. 70 to 18, so again 16. 80 to 19 by 15. 19, 20, 15. 20, 21 to 15. 21 to 22, 15. 22 to 23, 15. 23 to 24, again 15. 23 to 24, 15. 24 to 25, 15. So 25 to 26, number has increased by how many? Again 15. 15. So that the students, so if you analyze this trend, now you understand the number of employees has increased almost always by 15. By 15. So that what is the forecasting for 2027? Forecasting for 2027. Yes. Forecasting for 2027. Yes. Any idea?
Another 15.
Say it again. 400. Yes. So another 50, no? It should increase by another 50. That is the trend. Anybody can understand. So that what is the number of employees needed? 400? 400? You are quantitative people. 400?
81.
81, 481. Right? So you forecast very easily. Very easy. What you do? You analyze the trend and extend that trend into the future. Right. So this is what is called extrapolation. Right. So similar to extrapolation, there is another method called indexation. Indexation or ratio method. Right. In indexation, you use some casual ratios in order to forecast future demand. You use some of the casual ratios of the organization in order to forecast future demand. For example, in my university, in my faculty, we are maintain 1 to 18 ratio, teacher student ratio. Teacher student. So there should have one academic, one lecturer for 18 students in order to maintain our quality. That is the ratio. We always want to maintain that ratio. So next year we understand that UGC is going to send us 475 new or additional students, 75 extra or additional students next year. So that how many academics we need? We have to maintain our ratio. How many academics we need? Yes, approximately we need four. Four. We need one for 18. Then if it is 75, we need four. One of the trading organization is maintaining 1 to 1 million sales. 1 million sales. There should have one sales representative to generate 1 million sales. Next year, the organization expect to increase sales volume by 20 million. So how many new sales representatives are needed? How many sales representatives, additional sales representatives are needed? Yes? How many additional sales representatives are needed to generate 20 million? So sales next year. There should have one sales representative to generate 1 million sales. We want to increase it by 20 million. How many new sales representatives are needed? Huh?
20.
20. Right. So this is indexation. So you can use some of the casual ratios in not calculate. Right. So there is no one best method you can use. So the method we discussed. So best method is to have a combination of methods. Right. If you use one method, use another method to so verify your forecasting. So that is the best strategy because each method has its own merits and demerits. Right. So once you forecast future demand, you can record these short-term forecasting in a table. If you record short-term forecasting, short-term means any period of time which is less than 1 year, right? So that table is called staffing table or manning table. So staffing table lists out all the short-term forecasting, all the short-term forecasting of the organization, right? So this is a sample of short-term so staffing table. Shall we make it 27? Manning table XY company, manning table for the year ending 31st 12 2027. So we are supposed to prepare staffing table so for next year, starting from January next year, right? 31st 12 2027. Right. So this is a sample. So there are several columns in this particular table. So first column is job number, second column is job title, third one is department where the job vacancy exit. So next large column is for job vacancies by month of the year. So we can divide that column into so several sub columns. First one is total, then January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So month of the year. Then final column is for remarks, reason for job vacancy. So there are several rows. The first row, O03, job number O03. O means operations, or production, or manufacturing. Job title, assistant operation manager, department, manufacturing. Total number of vacancies, only one. When that job vacancy occur? Not in January, not in February, but March. Only one vacancy. Reason for job vacancy, resignation. That means current assistant operation manager who is working in the department of operations going to retire, going to resign in March next year. So definitely we may have vacancy on that particular day. Then O07, production supervisor, manufacturing department, total number of vacancies 2. One vacancy will occur in January, another one in July. Reason is expansion. Organization going to expand so that there will be 2 job vacancies for the post of production manager. One in January and another one is June. F01 finance manager, finance department, 1 vacancy. It will occur on October next year. Retire. That means current finance manager who is working in the department of finance will retire in October. We have to find someone. F05 management trainee finance department, we need 1 January expansion. M04 sales engineer marketing department, total number of vacancies 7. We need 1 in February, 4 in March, and 2 in November. So expansion. H03 HR executive HR department, we need 2, 1 in February and 1 in August. Expansion. A05 driver admin department. How many vacancies? How many vacancies for that driver position? How many job vacancies? Huh? How many job vacancies for the post of driver?
1.
1. When that vacancy will occur? When that vacancy
July.
job opening will, huh?
Month of July.
July. What is the reason?
Expansion.
Expansion. Now you clearly understand. So how to make a manning table or staffing table. This table is very useful. If you go through this table, you can understand all the job vacancies that may occur within next year. So you can even total. So if you total, you can get some understand total number of job vacancies. Total number of job vacancies for the whole year. Total job numbers for the month of January, month of February, March, April, and so on. This table is very useful, especially if you want to get follow some strategies to recruit. You use this one. For example, so next year you can make one advertisement to call for all job vacancies that may occur within next first quarter. Within the first quarter of next year, so there will be some vacancies. You can make only one advertisement calling for the application for all the jobs within first 3 months. What are job vacancies that may occur within next 3 months of next year? Within the first 3 months of next year, what are the job vacancies that may occur? We can make one advertisement calling for the job vacancies that may occur within next 3 months. What are the job vacancies? From January to March, assistant operation manager. What are the other? Production supervisor. Then management trainee. Then sales engineer. Then HR executive. So those are the jobs. So you can put up one job advertisement calling for application for all jobs. This is very, very useful. So this is the end of our first step. Table is very, very useful. Very useful. Manning table. So if you go through this table, you need not to find so information with regard to future job vacancies. So just looking at this, you can get that understanding. Right. We complete the first step. This is someone long step. So there are four more. It is not that easy to discuss the other steps. So shall we have a small break and discuss the rest later? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. We'll have a small break. Now the time is 9:15. No. Shall we meet around 9:35? 20 minutes break. Are you aware? 9:35. 9:35. Hello, students. Have you come back? Hello, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we are going to start the discussion on the rest of the things. We are discussing the process of human resource planning. That's the first step of the planning. First one is to forecast future demand for HR. What is the second one? What is the second step? If you can remember the first one, easily you can keep the second one in your mind. You can remember. What is the second one? Second one is to estimate HR supply. HR supply. Right. So, right. Estimate HR supply. This is the second step. If there is a demand, there should be a supply. If there is a vacancy, we have to fill it. How can we fill a particular vacancy? There are two sources of supply. One is internal supply, another one is external supply. So what do you mean by internal supply? What is internal supply? There is a vacancy. There are two ways that you can fill that vacancy. One is internally, the other one is externally. What is internal supply? Internal supply consists of current employees who can be considered to promote or transferred to fill the jobs which is vacant. So by promoting or transferring, you can fill jobs which are vacant. Theoretically, you can think of demotion too, but demotions are not made in order to fill job vacant. Right? Right. So internal supply consists of current employees who can be promoted or transferred to fill the jobs which are vacant. Right. Then the other so supply is external supply. External supply means people who are working so who are in the labor market. External supply consists of individuals who are in the labor market. In the labor market, there are two categories of people. There are some individuals who are working for other organizations but wants to change their job, right? And there are some other people who are so jobless or who are searching for jobs. So those are the people in the labor market. Again, there are two types of people in the labor market, two categories of individuals. One category is individuals who are searching for jobs, who are searching for jobs. And the other category is that there are some employees who are working for other organizations but wants to change their job. Right. Anyhow, estimation of HR supply means internal supply only. Don't worry about external supply. Forget about HR supply. Estimation of HR supply means internal supply only. Now the job is easy. So how are we going to estimate internal supply? There are two activities you have to do. There are two things you have to do in order to estimate internal supply. So one is auditing current HR. Auditing current HR. HR audit. You have to perform HR audit, not financial audit. You are very familiar with financial audit, but we are concerned about HR audit. What is HR audit? HR audit is all about assessing key qualities and qualifications of all the current employees. It is all about getting some understanding about key qualities and qualifications of all the current employees. If there are 100 employees in a particular organization, we are going to study them one by one. We are going to gather information with regard to their key qualities and qualifications. So qualifications refers to academic qualification, professional qualification, experience, preference, etc. What is the highest academic qualification, highest professional qualification, length of service, seniority, performance evaluation, preference, so likes, dislikes. So those are the informations that we are going to collect, right, with the purpose. Because we want to consider all the employees for giving promotions or transfers. We don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to consider everybody so that we are going to study everybody. We are going to collect those informations with regard to key qualities and qualifications. And once we collect those information, we are going to record those information in documents. Based on the documents, based on the information we collect through auditing current HR, we are going to make two important documents. One is skill inventory, the other one is management inventory. skill inventory and management inventory. In Sinhala, skill inventory is called Kusalata inventory. Management inventory means Kalmana inventory. What is the difference between these two? Skill inventory is for non-managerial employees. Management inventory is for managerial employees. Skill inventory specifies key qualities and qualifications of non-managerial employees. Management inventory catalogs or specifies key qualities and qualifications of managerial level employees. What are the information that you are going to include in skill inventory? So these are the information. Identification information the employee. What are the identification information? His or her name, his or her address, his or her gender, sex, age, etc. Those are identification. And identification information of the current job, job information. So what is the job title? What is the job location, job number, superior's title, etc. Then, so key qualities and qualifications. So education qualifications, academic and professional experience, including previous jobs, seniority, special competencies, training he has received, current and past job evaluations, so promotability, whether he can be promoted or not, weaknesses, preference. So these are the basic informations that you are going to include in skill inventory. It is for non-managerial employees. So how about management inventory? Management inventory is for managerial employees. So you can see all that these type of informations in the managerial inventory too. But beside that, there are some more information in the management inventory. For example, number of subordinates managed or supervised, jobs and duties of subordinates, so total budget management training, special management training received, so management systems developed and implemented, creative work and innovations, right? So these are the additional informations that you are going to include in the management inventory beside informations contained in the skill inventory. Okay, right. So these inventories are very, very useful by combining these one inventory for one individual, one inventory for one employee. By combining those inventories, you can make a master inventory. These two documents are very, very important in human resource planning. Okay. Right. Then the second sub-step is to identify and arrange possible replacement. Identify and arrange possible replacement. So what this is called succession planning. Succession planning is one of the activity you have to do in human resource planning. What is succession planning or identify and possible replacement? It is all about deciding or determining who will replace whom in the event a vacancy occurs. If a particular vacancy occurs, who is the next best person that we can use to fill that particular vacancy? For example, your general manager is going to resign next year, retire next year. He's at the age of 59 today. Is going to retire once he reaches 60. So definitely we understand that there will be a vacancy for the post of general manager next year, not today. We will have one more year. What are we going to do? Are we going to wait till general manager get his retirement? No, it may be too late if we wait till general manager get his retirement to fill that. So today we engage in human resource planning. We have to make a succession planning. So we have to decide to determine who the next best person that can be promoted or transferred to fill the jobs which is vacant. We have to do it systematically, professionally, so scientifically. Do not do it based on your human relations. Do not do based on your person relations. You have to do it objectively. Objective evaluation is very, very important. So objectively evaluate those who deserve that position, those who can be considered. Right. So what is the best place that you can search for? The best place that you can search for is immediate subordinate. Immediate subordinate. Who are the immediate subordinates? So there will be deputy general managers, DGM marketing, DGM operation, DGM finance, DGM HR, DGM research and development, etc. Right. So out of those 5 DGMs, who is the next best? Do it so objectively, methodologically, systematically, rationally. Right. So have an evaluation scheme. Create an evaluation scheme. Right? First find evaluation criteria and give some marks. Then finally, so decide to determine the marks given to each and every criteria of each and every employee. Then final find the total marks. For example, what are the criteria you use? Understand number one criteria to be used in order to select candidates to be promoted is the performance in the current job. The performance in the current job should be at least good. If one cannot perform the job at hand, he will not be able to perform the job of high rank. And so that excellent performance in the current job deserve promotion. So, so job performance. Then how about education qualification? Then seniority should be considered in case of positions like general manager. So maturity is important. So that older the better. In case of management trainee, so younger the better, right? Education qualification, especially skills needed, age. So these are the factors. So consider those things and arrange possible replacement. It doesn't mean that you are going to promote anybody today. You are not going to promote anybody, but you are going to identify the most suitable successor, and you are going to develop him. You are going to develop him because positions, especially like strategically important, so cannot be vacant at least per day. So you have to fill it. So get ready. Right. So this is what is called succession planning. Right. So with that, we complete second step. So sub steps: auditing current HR. Then, then we are arranging possible replacement. Right. So then we can move to third step. We can move to third step. Students, are you with me? Connected?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I
Yes,
hope
sir.
that I guess that first two steps are easy. You have fully understood. First one is to forecast future demand. Then second one is to estimate HR supply. Right? Then third one is to compare forecast demand with supply. Very easy. So you have forecast demand and estimate HR supply. Now you can compare what is the demand, what is the supply. If the demand equals supply, there's no worry. You need not worry about hiring anybody out because supply equals demand. But if the supply does not equal demand, sometimes demand will exceed supply. Demand is more than supply, so that there will be a shortage of employees. On the other hand, supply will exceed demand. Supply is more than demand. Then there will be a surplus of employees. So both surplus and shortage conditions cost to the organization. So due to human resource planning, there should not have a surplus of employees or shortage of employees. If there is a shortage or surplus of employees, it means that there's no proper planning. Right. So you can find whether there is a shortage or surplus of employees by using a table called net employee requirement table. Net employee requirement table. So this is the table. So it is not that difficult to understand this table. First three columns are familiar to you. First three columns: job number, job title, forecast demand. So these first three columns are the first three columns of staffing table. We discussed two columns: estimate supply, net employee requirement. Okay, now very easy. Right. So there are several rows. So first row 003, assistant operation manager. We understood that there will be one vacancy for the post of assistant general manager. So forecast demand is one vacancy. Estimate supply is zero. Zero supply means within the organization there's nobody who can be transferred or who can be promoted to fill that job vacancy. Within the organization, no. So that net employee requirement is -1. Minus, how do you get minus? You deduct forecast demand from estimated supply. Then you get minus. Minus means always shortage. Always shortage. You have to hire them out. O07 production supervisor. Forecast demand is 2. Estimated supply also 2. There will be 2 vacancies. However, within the organization, there are 2 supply. There are 2 so who can be considered for promoting or transferring, so that we need not to hire anybody from out. Net term requirement 0. F01 finance manager, only 1 vacancy within the organization, there will be 1. So that net temporary requirement is 0. F05 management trainee department only one. So within the organization there is nobody. Especially management trainee is an entry level job, so that within the organization we don't find, right? So that net temporary requirement is -1. Hire them out. M04 says engineer, we have 7 vacancies, but within the organization we can find only 2. So net temporary requirement is -5. H03 HR executive, 2 vacancies within the organization we can find only 1. So there will be 1 vacancy. A05 driver, so we have only 1 vacancy, but within the organization there are 3 employees. So that our net temporary requirement is +2. Plus means always surplus, right? Surplus. So there are so employees who are in excess, right? So this table is very important. By looking at the last column, net employee requirement, you can decide the actions you have to take. So this is the end of our third step. Okay, is it clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we can decide the actions. So tactics, strategies we have to take based on net employee requirement. Based on net. So you may have excess of employees, so you may have shortage of employees. Both cost of the organization. So that due to human resource planning, there should not have surplus of employees or shortage of employees. In advance, we can take strategies. Right. First, we will discuss the strategy that can be followed when the organization face into a surplus of employees. What are they? What are the strategies that we can follow? What are the strategies that we can follow if the organization face into surplus of employees? Yes, there are many. So don't think of firing employees. Don't think of terminating, because firing is not that easy. You have to pay compensation. So that keep it as the last resort, last strategy. Before that, there are many other steps you can follow. Consider all the options. If there is no any other option, so then you have to pick the last one, very costly, firing. Right before that, there are many. First strategy you have to do is to hire and freeze hiring. Hire and freeze means stop further hiring. Do not hire further. Quickly you can do it. Stop further hiring. This should be the first step. Then attrition. Attrition means voluntary departure. You can encourage voluntary departure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have employees in excess. So those who wants to depart, those who wants to go, now is the time. So you can encourage them, right? So you can give some allowance too if you have. Then encourage on leaves of absence. So you can let them the news of so surplus and let them know let them know that you are ready to give leaves. Those who want. For example, you can offer foreign study leave, foreign employment leave. Then you can encourage. I don't know whether you can encourage maternity leave, right? So anyhow, so you can let them know, ladies and gentlemen. So we have employees in excess. If you need, you can give leaves, long-term leaves. Right? If you want to go abroad for studies, so you can take, we can offer. Once you come back, we will take you back again. So if you want, so foreign employment leave, so these are high time for you. You can get it. You can encourage. Early retirement on voluntary basis. So you can encourage early retirement, right? So you can promote them. You can give some benefits, early time benefits. Reduction of rewards expenditure. This is another option, but you will not be able to do it easily because people will resist, especially so staff perform good performance get discouraged. But however, if employees are in excess, you can think of reducting rewards expenditure of only of excess employees. Let them know kindly, ladies and gentlemen, you are in excess. Can't keep you, but so that we will pay only basic salary. We will not be able to pay the others. right? We want to save the company, we want to save the organization, right? As a temporary measure, so we are going to reduce your rewards expenditure. Please bear with us. So layoff is stopping their job for a particular period of time with the intention of rehiring. There are many organizations that do layoff from time to time. There are some industries that subject to seasonal variations. Printing industry, hotel industry, so frequently change to seasonal variations. So during the season, there are businesses. During the off season, there's no business. So during the off season, you can lay off, but once the season begins, you can rehire them. So layoff. Formal outplacement facilities, another one. So it is all about having some good relations with other organizations known to you. You may have connections with other employees, other employers. You may have good relations with other companies, right? So with your networks, you will be able to find some jobs for the employees who are in your organization, in other organization. Like you can introduce, you can recommend your employees to the other organization. You can help them to find some jobs in other organization. You can help your employees to find some other organizations by giving some resources. For example, you can allow your printer, computer, your postal service to print their CVs and send it, right? So you can offer some soft loans even to start small business or self-employment, etc. So those are considered as formal outreach. Good organization does this. Finally, termination. This is very costly. Do not use this in the first place. Right? So use it as a last step. Termination is not that easy, right? So you can select one or two or three or several methods in order to address surplus condition. Then what are the strategies that you can follow in order to meet shortage condition? Can you suggest some strategies to follow when the organization is having shortage of employees? What are the strategies? If your organization is having shortage of employees, what are the strategies your organization can follow? Yes? What are they? If there are some shortage of employees, what are the strategies you can follow? Nothing? There are several. There are several. You may think of hiring permanent full-time employees. It's a good strategy, but it is very costly. You have to pay salaries and wages. Besides that, you have to pay many more, right? You have to pay EPF, ETF, then you have to pay gratuity, you have to pay fringe benefits, right? Statutory benefits, so many more. So everything costs a lot. So that before hiring a permanent full-time employee, think of using other options. So there are many other. So why don't you ask your current employee to do overtime? Have current employees work overtime, so they may be happy. They will get overtime. So you can ask your current employees to do overtime. Overtime cost may be less than the cost of full-time employee. Then subcontract work to the other firms. You can outsource, right? So you can give your work to the other organizations or the individuals to do it for you for free. So there are many activities you can subcontract. So how about your cleaning service can be outsourced, security service can be outsourced, then maintenance service can be outsourced, then transportation can be outsourced, your canteen service can be outsourced, many more. So payrolls can be outsourced, many HR activities can be outsourced, financial activities can be outsourced, internal auditing can be outsourced. So there are many things that you can outsource. So it may be cheaper than having your own employees. Provide opportunity for learners for a period of time. You can get interns. So it has become a passion. So there are many organizations that offer internship opportunities. So cost of internship is not similar to the cost of hiring full-time employees. There are many universities and other education institutions who want some opportunity for their trainees. So you can offer them. This is a good strategy. Hire part-time employees. Hiring part-time employees may not cost just like hiring full-time employees. Hiring casual employees, hiring temporary employees, hiring permanent full-time employees should be the last one. There is another method called substitution, which is more costly than hiring permanent full-time employees. So you can think of all those options, right? According to your requirements, think about the best option you can use it. Right. So we are approaching the last one. Last one is assess HRP effort. So now you have made a plan. Before making use of that plan, you have to make sure that you have done a good job. Assess the level of the success you're planning. Is your planning a success or is it a failure? If the planning is a failure, do not use that plan. All the reason that you are going to take based on plan go wrong. Right? So that assess the level of the success of the plan you prepare. It is you who prepare. There's nobody in the organization who knows better than you. You are your own master. Nobody can guide you, right? It is so that it is you who did it yourself. So you don't know whether it is success or failure. So before using it, measure the level of success. In order to measure the level of success, so there's no anybody who can instruct, give guidance. So you have to do it yourself. How are you going to assess the level of the success effort? There are some questions that you can ask from yourself. Think whether you have achieved the goals of objectives of human planning. If objectives have been achieved, so then so it is success. Otherwise, it is not a success. So check. There are a few questions you can ask from yourself. Answer to those questions will let you know the level of the success. For example, you can ask a question like this: was there any shortage of employees during a particular period of time in the past? Was there any shortage? So your answer may be yes or no. If the answer is yes, there was a shortage of employees during 3 months period in the last year. Is your process success? Is your process success? No, your process is not a success, right? So if the process is to be success, there should not have a shortage of employees. Again, another question. Was there any surplus of employees during a particular period of time? Answer may be yes or no. If the answer is no, there was no any surplus of employee during any period of time. So then your process is a success, right? So how long does a particular shortage existed? How long particular surplus existed? It gives some understanding about, right? So then what is the forecasting? Is there any difference between your actual forecasting and your whole estimated one? Right? Was there any? Uh, what was your forecasting, and what is your actual forecasting? Right? Is a difference? For example, your forecasted demand is 40, but actual demand is 80. Is it a success? Your forecast demand was 40. You forecasted your demand as 40 employees, but actual demand was 80. Is your forecasting a success? Is it a success? Tell me. Your forecasted demand was 40 employees, but actual demand was 80. Is it a success?
No.
No, it is not a success. You have not forecasted well. But your forecast demand is 40, actual demand is 45 or 35, that can be accepted. Because you can't forecast with 100% accuracy. You don't know what will happen. Forecasting about future. In future, many things happen. If there is a big deviation, it is not a success. But if there is slight deviation, it is okay. Right. So those are the ways that you can do the assessment. Finally, so there are some principles you have to follow in order to make your plan a success, right? So first, link it with business plan, strategic plan. So we discuss it. Human plan is a part and parcel of business plan, strategic plan. So you can't implement strategic plan if you do not have a human resource plan, right? So, so your business plan is translated into actual human resource required by human resource plan, In order to carry out your plan, how many employees, what type of employees you have to have. Always link with the business plan. Treat it as a basic function. So even the planning is a basic function. Basic means you have to perform this function before other functions are performed. Specifically speaking, before recruitment, before selection, before hiring, before induction, before many other HR functions, you have to perform this. Otherwise, you can't get the maximum benefit from planning. Consideration of factors. So all the factors should be considered. There are many factors to be considered. So factors of demand, there are many. So consider all the factors. So cost benefit analysis. It is better to do a cost benefit analysis. What is the cost of planning? What are the benefits? Costs are clear. You can calculate cost of planning in financial terms, but you can't estimate benefits in financial terms because most of the benefits are so not tangible, intangible, right? So that you will not be. But however, to a certain extent, you have to have understanding about the benefits and cost. If cost is too much, unbearable, it is not good for a small organization. Support from all the other managers. Understand, you have to get the support. You have to get the support from all the other managers. If other managers do not support, you can't do human resource planning. HR manager alone so cannot do human resource planning, especially from other managers, especially to estimate HR supply and estimate human resource supply and forecast future demand. You have to have good support from the other managers. If other managers do not cooperate, you will not be able to. It will be a dream, right? So that you have to have good human skills to get the support from the other managers. So these are the principles that you can follow in order to make a better plan. Principles are guidelines. Follow these guidelines in order to make a better plan. Right. That is all about human resource planning. I wanted to discuss those things. Already we have achieved all our learning outcomes. Again, go through our learning outcomes. Right. We want to define the term human resource planning. We made the definition. It is a process of determining future employee needs and deciding or determining strategies that should be followed. So explain why HRP is important for us. We discussed 5 reasons, so keep it in mind. Understanding HR process, forecast HR demand, estimate HR supply, compare demand is supply. Then follow strategies and finally assess human resource planning process. Explain cause of future demand and supply. We discuss many factors that decide the demand. Identify strategies, we discuss. No principles. So these are the learning outcomes. We have discussed all these learning outcomes. Right. So with this, I want to conclude today's session. So again, we are going to meet in the evening. In the evening, I am going to talk about the most important function of human resource management, that is called selection. However, after planning the function to be performed is recruitment. Recruitment is all about finding and attracting suitably qualified applicants for the jobs which are vacant. But I'm not going to talk about recruitment. It is very easy function, very simple function, although it is important. I leave it for self-study. So I give it to study by yourself. I will give you the lecture note, handout. I will upload it to the LMS. You have to go through it and get that understanding, right? So recruitment. After recruitment function is selection. So I'm going to talk about selection because that is the most important function of human resource manager. I'll briefly explain the meaning of recruitment, then jump to discuss selection. Okay, so selection is a big function. Normally it takes nearly 6 hours to discuss everything, but we may not have enough time. So I hope to discuss everything. So within the time given, right? So we may have 3 hours from 6 to 9. Within that period, I will discuss about selection, the most important critical function that is the heart of HRM. So everybody attend that lecture. So from the perspective of examination too, in terms of examination also, this may be very important. There will be one question from human resource planning and another question from selection 2. Okay, right. With that, I want to conclude today's session. So if you have any question, you can ask now.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes?
Sir, LMS එකේ මේ note එක දාලා නැහැ නේද?
මේ දාලා තියෙනවා මම human resource planning එක.
Sir, ඒක ඇතුළට ගියාම තියෙන්නේ job and life කියන ඒකමයි.
ඒකම තියෙන්නේ. හරි sorry එහෙනම් මම ඒක එහෙනම් දැන් දාන්නම් ආපහු. හොඳේ? ඒකත් දාන්නම් මේ selection එකක් දාන්නම්.
හරි
හොඳේ?
sir, thank you.
දැන් දානවා. sorry මම නම විතරයි දාලා තියන්නේ අරක නේද HRP කියලා. මට
හරි sir,
හිතුණා.
thank you.
හොඳේ හරි. Okay. Any other question? Any other? Nothing. Okay, thank you very much, students. So I will upload the relevant material. So extremely sorry, I have uploaded wrong material.